All right. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy
And
Friday.
welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
I'm Anthony Ihrig, the other.
And today we're joined by Robin and Linda Williams, joining us from Virginia. And hello to you. And to hello out you out there. Chris already getting on board. And I'm guessing with a beer, maybe an Udapils, just a guess.
I'm going to think
And
so.
but what are you drinking today, Tony?
When I saw the cover of the album we're going to listen to, I felt like I needed to do something wintry. So once again, this another week recently, it's you can't even see it. It's so bright, but it's the Bell's Brewery Bright White. It's a winter ale in that kind of Belgian style,
Nice.
white beer, wheat beer. It's really really good.
And you look very festive, by the way, with your
Thank
tinsel.
you. This is a last minute addition, but man, it is not just Friday, but it is the beginning of the holiday break for two grade school kids. So I'm so ready for this happy hour.
And also, it's our final show of 2020. So,
Yes.
39th episode. We've been doing this since the pandemic hit and we quarantined here in Minneapolis. And this has been so much fun. Robin and Linda, what are you guys drinking anything for your happy hour out there?
I'm drinking sparkling water, but I'm drinking it in a really nice old glass. So it's a happy.
Fancy.
Yeah,
Yes.
and
And Robin is
I've
drinking
got
it
mine out of the can,
out of
but
the can.
I used to, I haven't been drinking lately, so I'm kind of out of, Oh, I see something I can use. I'll be right back.
While
And
we're waiting, I'll say Connie's drinking her leftover birthday wine. And I want to give it. Connie's one of our Patreon patrons. Happy
oh,
birthday,
Connie,
Connie!
happy
Her
Happy
birthday.
birthday
birthday,
was
Connie.
yesterday.
And I am drinking something very festive today.
You are?
It's my early Christmas cocktail. It's from the Mother Banjo cocktail recipe book, and this is has cranberry juice, vodka, lime, and some
Ooh.
craisins in there as well. So,
Woo!
so cheers.
Cheers.
Here's to us all.
And
Right.
it looks like Alan has joined us from Dallas with, of course, a gin and tonic, as he is prone to do. And it looks like, oh, awesome. Matt joining us from Orange, Connecticut, from my home state. And let's see, Joe from South Minneapolis drinking the John Prine special again. That would be vodka and ginger ale. Bev from Minneapolis drinking some bubbly. And my folks joining us from Litchfield, Connecticut.
Hey.
Cheryl and Dakota Dave Hall tuning in as well. Some old friends. So cheers,
Cheers.
everybody.
Thank you all for being here. This is going to be a fun one.
It's going to be great. And
Listen, on the call before you guys even got here, I would say I had met Robin and Linda for about 30 seconds, and we already started telling banjo jokes. So if that tells you what kind of hour it's going to be, you're in for it.
exactly. And it looks like Banjo Gal, speaking of banjos, joined us from North Carolina as well. So we are going to have some banjos today. We should have that as a warning up front. When you have a show hosted by two banjo players and then you have more guests joining you who also play banjo, then that happens.
We'll do some banjo.
Exactly. So that's our like trigger warning for the show. But we're so excited to have Robin and Linda on the show. I've been fans for a long time, and I am really excited about this record because it's one of my holiday, like it's in my regular holiday rotation. So every time of this time of year comes around, I dig this out, and it gets played a lot. So I'm excited about revisiting it. It's called The First Christmas Gift. Came out in 2005. We're going to be exploring tracks, answering your questions. So throw them in the comments and we'll get to as many as we can. But first, Robin and Linda, for folks who maybe are less familiar with your music, you've been doing this a long time. And I won't say how many years, since you were Spring Chickens. And maybe you could tell folks a little bit about your background and what maybe led up to the recording of this particular record, because I know it's just one of many in your catalog.
Well, I came out of South Carolina, and I started out playing a lot of college coffee houses in the late 60s. And through that experience there, I ended up coming out to Minneapolis for the first time. And it was running. I'm glad to see Dakota get Dave Hall here, because I ran into him in January of 1970 out in Moorhead, Minnesota, and it was through Dave and a bunch of friends out there that we developed our penchant for going out to Minneapolis whenever we could. Let's fast forward a couple of years and to the summer of 1971, and I was back home in South Carolina visiting my folks, and went to an open stage that my brother had kind of put together. And who should walk in but
I was visiting my parents. I had been. I'm from the South, and but my parents had moved north, and I went to high school and college in Michigan, and so I had graduated from college, and I had taught school for a year, and my parents had subsequently moved back south, and so I was coming to visit them and see their house in South Carolina, and I heard about this open stage, and I started playing guitar, like everybody else did. And when we were in high school, I was about 14 or 15 when I got my first, silver tone $29.99 Sears guitar. But it was good. I learned that. And so, I took my guitar and went down there and met this guy, and we hit it off pretty quick.
My plan was to
right together.
This was a Friday night. My plan was to be there until Monday, and then I was going to hitchhike back out to Minneapolis. And as it turned out, I had to stay a few extra days after meeting Linda. We met a few days, and then she took me up to North Carolina, and I lit out from North Carolina from Minneapolis, and I didn't know whether I would ever see her again, but I certainly hadn't forgotten her. And it turns out later on that she hadn't forgotten me either. And her brother was coming back, flying out to Aspen, Colorado, or something like that. So she drove to Minneapolis, and we spent about a month out there, didn't we? A month.
I don't remember.
About 2 or 3 weeks.
I remember when we came back to the South, we went to Galax. The first time I'd ever been to Galax, and that's where I got my first banjo. Speaking of banjo players, and right there with what was it?
L.W. Lambert.
L.W. Lambert and the Border Mountain Boys camped right next to us, and we just had a ball. And so I got a banjo when I was there, and then we went to other festivals, and we just started. I went back to Michigan and taught school, and then went to Nashville. And when I moved to Nashville, he started coming to see me in Nashville, and we started playing open stages, and that's
how it got started.
Happened.
That's how it got started. And then, but we kept our connections to Minneapolis through Dave and Sean Blackburn and a bunch of other people.
Rob Bovey and Bob Wagner. Maureen McGildery. And
so we went
Stevie
back up.
Beck.
We went back out there, and then it turns out that we started looking for a record label, and Symposium Records out of Minneapolis, they were our first record label. They gave us a shot. We did 3 CDs with them, and went back out there and recorded them. Used Peter Ostrushko, Mike Cass, Dave Hull,
Minneapolis All-Star.
Yeah, exactly. Those back in the 70s, we were all green as we could be, but those records were pivotal for us. They really helped get us started. And
recorded with Paul Martinson, is that his name?
Yeah, Sound 80.
Oh my God, what a great engineer! Yeah, and we did it live to 2-track, so everybody just had to play, and we were. I'm not saying the music was like, really exceptional at the time, but the recording was good. I mean, it was really had a great sound,
and it got us started.
Yeah,
it really was.
And we had a few original songs and a few other people's songs.
Yeah,
some traditional stuff,
and it solidified our relationship with Minneapolis, and it was from there that we ran into Garrison. Peter Ostrushko ended up going on the road with us for 2 years. Mike Cass went on the road with us for a year. We developed a relationship with Garrison Keeler, and then so we've spent the last 45 years coming back and forth to Minneapolis because of this, and so.
You are.
There you are.
We got you back.
And yeah, exactly. And what's cool is even though you had been on other labels after that first record label from Minneapolis, you ended up coming back to the Twin Cities for to do many albums with Red House Records, which used to be based here in St. Paul. And the app, yeah, exactly. That's where we met. And this album we're going to be talking about today was released on Red House in 2005, and the first song that you picked to hear from this album is called "On a Quiet Christmas Morn." Is there anything you want to say about the song before we listen to it together?
Well, we the song came by. We were talking with a friend of ours who lives on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. He used to jog every morning, and he said that what was really interesting for him was that you went out on Christmas morning and you never had to worry about any cars. You never had to worry about anything. No one was on the road.
The quietest morning.
It was the quietest morning of the year. So we kept that with us.
And we were up in New York one Christmas. A lot of these songs for the Christmas songs came from doing shows at Town Hall with Garrison, because he would say, well, you know, if you can bring some originals, you know, it's like if you could bring some original stuff that you could pass by him. And so this was one that actually we wrote after we had been on a show. We stayed in New York for about a week afterwards and hung out and had Christmas there, and then started and wrote this one and then several more that are on the record. And but this was even in New York City, there's nothing going on Christmas morning, because we had to get up and walk our dog, and you know, it was pretty much like the beginning of the song.
Yeah, my friend, the story from my friend really resonated when we were in New York City, because you went outside and there was just nothing happening, just nothing. You could look up down Broadway and you maybe see one or two taxis, and that was it. And it kind of that was the impetus for this song.
Yeah.
And another thing, you know, just to mention it, this song went on, and we had several people record it. Mary Chapin Carpenter recorded it, and then as it happened again in New York City, there we were with Garrison at Town Hall, and Tom Wopat, who was an actor and on Broadway movies and on television as one of the Dukes of Hazzard. He came by, and we were talking to him, and he said, "You don't have any Christmas songs, do you?" And we said, "Well, sure, we do." So we sent him this, and we were thinking he would record. If he chose one, he might choose, because of the Dukes of Hazzard, we were thinking, okay, he might choose "Shotgun Shells on a Christmas Tree" or something like that, but he didn't. They chose this song, and it was really I was standing outside pumping gas at a local gas station. They were piping through Christmas songs, and all of a sudden this song comes up. That's how we found out that they were recording
at a gas station.
You know,
wow.
We're pumping gas, and all of a sudden here comes them singing "On a Quiet Christmas Morn." It was
nice.
Yeah.
What a cool story.
That's awesome. Well, let's take a listen to it now.
Okay.
All right. This is "On a Quiet Christmas Morn." Robin and Linda Williams on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
There's not a soul out on the street, no footprints in the fallen snow. The only moving thing I see is the curl of chimney smoke. Frost melts on the window panes and the house is getting warm from the fire's crackling flames on a quiet Christmas morn. I walked out in the silent world. No engines roared, no sirens whined, no teasing boys chased squealing girls, no noisy school bells chimed. No one raced off to work through the din of honking horns. There was truly peace on earth on a quiet Christmas morn. And on a quiet Christmas morn, a child was in a stable born. Shepherds heard the baby cry, saw a new star in the sky. On Christmas morn. The hustle stops and the bustle stills, and on this day all is calm. Forgiving kindness and goodwill soothes like a healing balm. The hardest heart is softened by the blessing that was born when the gift of grace was offered on a quiet Christmas morn. And on a quiet Christmas morn, a child was in a stable born. Shepherds heard the baby cry, saw a new star in the sky. On a quiet Christmas morn, on a quiet Christmas morn.
All right. Robin and Linda Williams with the song On a Quiet Christmas Morn from their 2005 Red House Records release, The First Christmas Gift. We're talking with Robin and Linda Williams today on the Back Catalog Listening Party, revisiting this record, talking about the songs, answering your questions. Throw any comments or questions in the comments, and we will try and get to them as we go today. And that song, you were talking about how it was sort of inspired by being in New York City on Christmas Day and how quiet everything was. And I was just thinking how even during this pandemic, it seems that I remember seeing the images of New York City and certainly here in Minneapolis about how quiet and dead it was at various times. That this song kind of makes me think of those times when it's been just eerily quiet, but kind of beautiful at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah, eerily quiet now, and but it's all it's beautiful on Christmas, you know.
Right.
I mean, even here in the valley, we live in the Valley of Virginia, Shenandoah Valley, and so we're up pretty high, elevation-wise. Even though it's rolling hills and not mountains, so we have mountains on either side, but it's always cold. Well, we got snow on Tuesday. And it's been cold ever since. So we have a nice covering of snow, and it's lovely to look out and see.
We have
it.
Nothing here.
No, it's brown.
It's totally brown.
Well, we have a beautiful. It kind of looks well. That picture was taken in the valley. That you know.
Oh, the cover.
The cover, yeah. And we don't have that much snow. But I think this next song, are we going to do Together All Alone?
Yeah.
That's a song that we wrote or started anyway, got the idea for in a Christmas in a great big snow one winter. So this is not official.
It looked like this.
Yeah, I mean, like huge, like 36 inches one night.
Well, I don't know exactly how big it was.
Like
you know, we have had 36 inches, and you know, from stage the story never loses anything by the telling.
Maybe a few more inches each time.
Yeah, exactly. Deeper with each story. But
you know, it was.
I guess the point is, you know, we get winter here, and we get snow, and it's great because it makes us. It solidifies the brotherhood we have with our friends in Minnesota
and sisterhood.
You know, we know what it's like. We know we can understand what you guys are going through. We just don't go through it 6 months out of the year. You know.
Well, you know, it's true. You are two of the brave souls. You and your band came through many times through Minnesota in the wintertime. I've seen many holiday shows and such here. So yes, intrepid souls. Not everyone comes to Minnesota in the winter. So
we've been on the last plane out of Minnesota before, you know, more than once in the wintertime.
I see Dakota Dave. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, I just see that Dakota Dave Hall says in 5 years it'll be 5 feet of snow. The story will grow to be 5 feet of snow. And Yeah, special shout out to Dakota Dave, who has been a guest here on the back catalog, and it's fun to see our friends join in. Tony, what were you
Well,
about
I
to
was
ask?
just going to say that I'd heard this song before. The first time I actually heard it, it was Ellen's recording of it, Mother Banjo's version. She does a
wow.
wonderful cover of this song, and I
You
thought, man,
know
that's
about
such a great song, and it stuck with me ever since. But when I was re-listening to it for today's episode, it just has a whole new feeling, given this kind of pandemic world we're living in, and all of us being together all
Yeah.
Yeah.
alone. And I mean, not to take away from the winter aspects of it, because now it's a double whammy here
Yeah.
in Minnesota and most other
The,
places.
the enforced quietness of life.
Yeah. Well, and this is the longest time we've ever been home in
Yeah.
47 years of marriage, or being together, whatever, it's so, yeah, which is, kind of weird and yet kind of, wow, this is what it's like to be home all the time. It's kind
Hold
of
on
nice.
for just a second. For the first, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, you have time to do things, that you don't ever, you get to things you've been putting off forever, and like now you can do them, or you just don't have that feeling like, oh my God, I got to get, I got to do this and this and this and this and this because we're leaving, in a day and a half or whatever. So it's a sweet time in a lot of ways, and for us anyway.
And I
And
think
for any of you who are listening, for any of you who are taxpayers and under the age of 65, Robin and Linda Williams, thank you. We thank you. Thank you very much, because it has taken the load off of us as we sit around here having all our work canceled out for the. So thank you very much.
Speaking of which, I see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, if you want to help the Robin and Linda Retirement Fund or Stay at Home Fund, you can buy this album that we are enjoying today, The First Christmas Gift, as well as albums from their deep catalog at robinandlinda.com. And we also have a virtual tip jar that was shared earlier on PayPal. There it is. So again, that's another way you can support artists like Robin and Linda while they aren't touring. But right now, let's dig into the song, because it is one of my favorites. Obviously, there's a reason I covered this song. It was always one of my favorite songs from this record. And yeah, and it had been a while since I heard the original version. And I was realizing how much over the years, when you've been playing a song a while, how much it changes from the original. So this will be a lot of fun to enjoy this together.
All right, let's give it a listen. I think we can all relate. Together, all alone, Robin and Linda Williams here on a special holiday episode of the Back Catalog Listening Party.
It's a snow drifting night, and all the roads are closed. But baby, that's alright, 'cause we got no place to go. The wind is howling like Miles Davis, gone insane, pounding on the tin roof and the window panes. But I'm not worried about the weather. The weather's gonna do just what it wants. Oh, I'm just glad to be together, all alone. Together, all alone. Your mama's got kids, and so you know they'll be okay. Yeah, and it looks like she's gonna get to keep them now another 2 or 3 more days. The basement's full of wood, so we're gonna stay warm kitchen's full of food. So go on and let it storm, 'cause I'm not worried about the weather. The weather's gonna do just what it wants. Oh, I'm just glad to be together, together, all alone. Together, all alone. We can go to bed real early. We can stay in bed real late. We're gonna get down underneath all those covers, darling. We're gonna hibernate. Turn off that television, unplug that telephone. We'll watch the Christmas lights blinking off and on. Pretend this Pabst Blue Ribbon is Dom Perignon, and pray that the snow plows never come. 'Cause I'm not worried about the weather. The weather's gonna do just what it wants. Oh, I'm just glad to be together, together, all alone. Together, all alone. It's just you and me, babe. Together, all alone. Oh, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Together, all alone. Together, all alone. Together, all alone.
All right. Robin and Linda Williams with Together All Alone, one of my favorites from their 2005
Great,
release,
yeah.
The First Christmas Gift. And we're enjoying it together today on the Back Catalog Listening Party. If you're new to this show, this is our weekly musical happy hour that Tony and I host, and we invite different guest artists that we're fans of to dig into old records and listen to them, talk to them, and just kind of remind ourselves about all the great music that's already out there that you can enjoy and buy. If you like what you're hearing today, that's where you can get this wonderful holiday album, which is always in rotation at my house. I mean, maybe not every month of the year, but although that song, again, I love covering that song. And one thing, it was cool to hear listening to this original version of it again is again, the harmonica on this, Robin, is so sweet, and it has such a more bluesy vibe. A lot of folks know you as kind of folk and bluegrass, but yeah, this kind of has a bluesy vibe to it.
Yeah, that's what we wanted, you know.
Try to get that wind, the wind blowing like Miles, howling like
Miles Davis.
Love that line.
That's what we wanted on the harp.
My cousin has never bought a CD, and he's an avid music listener. And,
Records.
And he just
LPs.
throughout the 90s, the 80s and 90s, and even up to today, he just buys records. And now, you know, he can buy them now. People are releasing them now, but for a long time, the only place he could get them was in used record stores. And he gave me a Miles Davis record. Have you ever listened to Miles Davis? He said. I said, no, not really. He said, man, you really should. Really should. So he gave us this Miles Davis record. And during that snowstorm, we actually were listening to it, you know, and it's amazing kind of, and enjoying it and really starting to figure out, starting to understand why Miles is so well thought of. Trying
to understand.
Well,
we
understand now. Yeah. Just listen to his music, becoming.
But we weren't, you know, I didn't never listen to much that kind of, you know, jazz. big band jazz or, swing or whatever.
But so it
I
just
never
kind of,
listened
it
to
just
Miles
on that
Davis.
line came out at some
Yeah.
point in time, just because
Yeah,
we've
because
been
we were listening.
sitting listening to
And the
Miles
wind
Davis.
kind of did sound like Miles
Yeah.
Davis going and saying.
We had this old farmhouse that leaked, and the wind would blow. No matter what we could do, we couldn't stop the wind from coming
And
through it.
then it would bang, the
No,
roof
what-
would bang.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
well.
was, yeah.
So when you guys are arranging songs, are these considerations? Are you thinking, wow, the lyrics are about, have this kind of vibe, and we're thinking about a location in our mind. So let's, change the feel of the rhythm. Let's change the instrumentation to fit the lyrics. Is that something that's conscious, or does it kind of come out organically when you put together a record like this?
Well, I don't,
What I would
I
say
think
is,
that we performed it as a duet.
mhm.
No,
No, it was with the
Did we do
band.
it with the band?
It was the band, yeah. It was
I can't remember when we wrote it
Yeah.
or whenever. But anyway, Robin always performed it with the harp, with the harmonica, because Robin is a great harp player.
No, I'm not.
He,
I'm not.
He is.
Yeah.
But he won't. I'm always begging him to play
Linda,
harp. I say,
We're not in our living room.
Okay.
Well, we are. We're in our
We are.
dining room. We're not talking about our inner life here.
So I may have said, well, I think harmonica would be great, but he had to kind of handhold it, if you get that kind of sound, he usually played on a rack, like, Dylan, was the original or whatever.
The good harmonica players.
Yes. And, we had to handhold this one. So like when we perform this one, I play rhythm guitar and Robin plays harp, and no guitar, as we do it as a duet. I don't remember how we did it but Jimmy Goodrow played mandolin on that. That was his mandolin playing, and it's one of the great mandolin bluegrass guys. And we had the great opportunity of touring with him for about 5-7 years.
Something like that.
And we just got a Christmas card, just right back up there.
Oh, nice.
And he's
So how about that? Band members that still talk to each other.
Yeah. Well, that actually kind of leads into the other part of my question, which is when you're a duo, we get some solo acts, we get duos and stuff that you go into a studio and record now with 4 or 5 other people, right? So suddenly there's all these other parts coming around. And I'm always fascinated with the different process people use. I mean, some folks, it's just like they hire these people and say, you do your thing, and other people have charts written out. Where do you guys fall on that spectrum when you hire these great musicians?
Yeah. We basically hire people and say, do your thing. We're just working on a project now. And what?
I was just going to modify what you said, but I didn't interrupt. I just was
okay. And anyway, like we were just listening to some mixes today that we got back, so working on the mixes, doing it long distance because we can't get in the studio in Durham. So anyway, we're listening to it and we're thinking, the bass player, he's a great bass player, Mark Schatz. I don't know if
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great banjo player too.
Great. He came in here again. We did it all in our living room, and he came in here, and did 13 songs, and came in, took off his coat about 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something like that, and played about 4 cuts that evening. We took him out for dinner with the engineer, and then came back and he played the rest of the 9 or 10 the next day, just wham, 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 wham. Just, he makes his own charts. He can make them real quick. He's from, he's got the Nashville chart thing down, I remember
anyhow.
But that's, I think if you hire the musicians that you, or if you're using your band or whatever, but if you hire the musicians that you want, you hire them because of the way they play, and you just say, okay, have at it. And then if you have to kind of go, maybe go a little more in that direction instead of that direction, you can, we'll do that. All
this having been said, we've tried to produce the records ourselves with the band, and what we find out is it's really good if we co-produce with somebody else, because we hire somebody else that has a really good idea of how to put things. He knows the studio. He can move things along quickly. If you have someone like that, and it's also, we've learned that in the voting too, contrary to modern society, since we've learned since last November, the most votes don't seem to win. But in our studio situation, the most votes, you have three people, you know.
Yeah, well, we have somebody, a referee.
So we have some, and that's really good for us, you know.
Yeah,
as
referee's always good to have.
for us to have that. And so it's we put together things. Hopefully, what we will present is when we go into the studio is a strong idea and that strong idea is developed over us singing the song 100 times or more at least. It's always and also is really helpful if you can do it on stage for a while before you bring it to the studio. But then once it gets into the studio, it changes no matter what. It changes. And then oftentimes, you know, you come out of the studio and you'll take the studio version. You know, yeah, that was great. Somebody else comes in, changes it around, makes the song better. Bam, you're set. You're ready to go then. Yeah.
So tell us about this record that we've been revisiting today, the First Christmas Gift. Where was this recorded, and who produced this album with you?
It was produced with the guy we're working with now. His name is Kevin McNulty. He was a young upstart, and we first started working with him on our first might have been our first.
No, we did a couple Sugar Hill.
No, it was the gospel record. That was our first.
Yeah.
Or a second. No, anyhow, no. We started, but anyhow, it was in the '90s. We started working with him.
We did some Sugar Hill records with him, and then we did the first. We did Deeper Waters, which was our first Red House record with him, and I can't remember beyond that. Frankly.
Yeah, but we did this. We did this with him, and he came. Yeah, he went away for a while, went down to Florida for a while, and then he came back to the Southeast, and he's living in Durham. So I was kind of laid up last year. And we called him and we said, we'd like to have, I'm just saying, we said, hey, we haven't worked together in a long time. It'd be fun. Would you come up here and see if our living room, which has 10-foot ceilings, it sounds great to play music in there. So we did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, with the First Christmas Gift, we had the idea, you know, it was time for us to do another record. And we had this material and we thought, well, why not use it, you know? And we went to Eric Peltonini and
pitched it.
And pitched it, yeah.
Pitched the record to Eric.
Pitched the record there. And
he was the director of Red House.
Well, no, the
president.
Well,
no. Actually, Bob was
still there. Bob was there. Yeah, Bob.
But he became president later. So
yeah,
you are correct.
Bob was there, and so they said, "Well, go with it. Go with the idea." So it was interesting, you know, because we wanted to come out in 2005. So I guess we went in the spring of 2005 and started doing the record, you know, which is kind of odd. But we recorded it in, 4 or 5 days in the spring of 2005, and got it together, and then got it to this able staff at Red House who went out and publicized it and did a great job on that. The real odd thing though was having to get one of the pictures taken. We had there's pictures of us standing in some pine trees, and it was taken in like July. We had scars on.
You're sweating, yeah. You know, it's funny. My husband and I did a holiday EP a couple years ago where we also had the photos taken on a fall day, but it was like really warm. It was like 70 degrees, and we had to search for pine trees so it looked Christmassy, even though there was no snow anywhere. So yeah, it is funny what happens behind the scenes on a Christmas record. But
they're all recorded in non-Christmas times, like
pretty much. So well, let's dig into another song here. And this is, I know, a fan favorite, wonderful original tune, Shotgun Shells on a Christmas Tree. Yes. Do you want to say anything about it first, or do you want to just chat about it after we take a listen?
Let's go ahead and play. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
And then we'll chat. Does that suit you?
All right. This is Shotgun Shells on a Christmas Tree from Robin and Linda Williams here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Thinking back on my best Christmas day, I see snow-covered fields of red Georgia clay, and my grandmother there was hardened and gruff, 'cause she never had more than just enough. I remember hearing her say, there's work to be done even on Christmas Day. There's no time or money for ribbons and wreaths, for trimming a house with a Christmas tree. But we hung shotgun shells on a little scrub pine, red and green and brass that would shine. They still decorate my memory. Shotgun shells on a Christmas tree. Well, my dad just ignored my grandma's decree. He took me hunting for a Christmas tree. There in the field with the rabbits and squirrels were more shotgun shells than I'd seen in the world. We crunched through the snow to a place he knew well. While he picked out a tree, I was picking up shells. I could already see them there in my mind, tied to the tree with pieces of twine. Shotgun shells on a little scrub pine, red and green and brass that would shine. They still decorate my memory. Shotgun shells on a Christmas tree. Now that house had a tree for the very first time, a Christmas red clay North Georgia pine. And even my grandmother came in to help, and we strung it with 4, 10, and 12 gauge shells. I'd never seen such a smile on her face as she laughed as we set out the table places. About what a sight it was to see, shotgun shells on a Christmas tree. We hung shotgun shells on a little scrub pine, red and green and brass that would shine. They still decorate my memory. Shotgun shells on a Christmas tree. We hung shotgun shells on a little scrub pine, red and green and brass that would shine. They still decorate my memory. Shotgun shells on a Christmas tree.
All right. Robin and Linda Williams with Shotgun Shells on a Christmas Tree from their 2005 Red House Records release, The First Christmas Gift. Robin and Linda joining us today on the back catalog listening party to revisit this album on our final show of 2020, a holiday special here. And big thanks to all of you for tuning in. And I did want to mention that someone mentioned that about the audio being a little jumpy today, and that can happen sometimes on the internet. Sometimes we can't control that, but you can buy the record and hear it in all its audio glory.
That's right.
And you can do that and get it in stereo, and it's a really beautiful sounding record. So I encourage you to get that from robinandlinda.com. And because again, this CD is in rotation every year around this time of year in my house. And that song is so great. And Linda, that's inspired from your childhood, right?
It is. It is. My dad's from Georgia, and I'm from Alabama. My mom's also from Alabama. But we used to go to, of course, when we were, little kids, we went to both grandmothers and my people in Georgia. My grandmother had like 7 kids of her own, and then everybody had their kids there, and we were all little kids running around just driving her crazy while she was trying to get, she and all the sisters and sisters-in-law were trying to get dinner ready, and then so it was just kind of I'm thinking about another song. All right.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about First Christmas.
I was not going to get in here, Linda.
Earlier. This is even earlier. This is one of the little tiny kids. And we were like, brother and I were like,
There wasn't gonna be your grandmother didn't have Christmas trees.
she didn't have a Christmas tree,
and she wasn't gonna put one up.
And she wasn't going to put one up, and we were going to go to my other grandmother's in Anniston, who always had a
But that's another
big tree.
story.
But our car broke down, so we were stuck in Maysville, Georgia, and so we were all whining like, "Where's no tree? How is Santa? Where's he going to put the tree? How's he going to find us?" So my dad said, "Well, come on with me, and we'll see what we can find." He got in a car and took a shotgun and went down to this field that everybody knows is a good field to hunt rabbits and squirrels. And so he said, "Here, go pick out a tree." And little pines, and so they were done, barely as tall as I was. But anyway, we got one, and but I saw there was just shotgun shells all over the whole field, and I started picking them up because we didn't have any ornaments either. So I picked them up. So we took them back and we strung them, and with a string, and then wrapped them around the Christmas tree, and that was our Christmas tree.
And Linda told me, I'd known Linda maybe a month or two, and she told me this story. It was just one of these stories that stayed with her. It was just prominent in her life, this story, and it took us a while, but we did write the song, and we really liked the song. The first time we ever sang it was on a Prairie Home Companion. We'd written it, and we just barely had it together, just had the chords, and I'll never forget, we were trying to work it up with the band at a rehearsal spot in New York City. And we were kind of struggling, and Garrison walked in, and it was like, "Well, what have you got for us?" And we timidly said, "Well, we got this brand new song, and we could do if you want to look at it." And he looked at the words and he said, "Have you got it worked up?" And we said, "Well, kind of, And the band just kind of played it roughly. And he said, "Okay, that's it. We'll start the show with that tomorrow." And,
No pressure.
Yeah.
And he said, "Now, Linda, you start it, but you just kind of, sing it by yourself. And we're not going to start with a, big turnaround and everything like that." So that's, he kind of put the start of it going, thinking back on my last Christmas day. Anyway.
Yeah,
I love it, and I love the sentiment of making your own festivities and celebrations in whatever way you can. And I think in this particular year, that is very resonant for a lot of us who maybe are not having the Christmas or holiday season that we are used to. It might look different, and and thanks, Mary, and thanks to all of you out there listening. If you have any last minute questions for Robin and Linda, we're going to play one more song, but we will have time to answer any questions. So feel free to throw them in there.
One more thought about this song is that we started singing it, and it got really good reaction from the people. So we were confident of the song. We thought it'd be a good song for the record. We liked the recording that came out, and then we take it to Red House Records, and it's time. And Bob. And we take it there, and we start. They like the record. There's no problem whatsoever. They love the record. And they say, yeah. What do you want to call it? And we said, "Shotgun Shells on a Christmas Tree. Let's call it that." And Bob says, "That's kind of violent, isn't it?" A little violent. And what I thought was like, well, I mean, what is just shotgun? I mean, how do you think you get your mistletoe?
How do you get your mistletoe out of trees if you don't use a shotgun?
Take the shotgun and shoot the mistletoe out.
I think, he was.
It did not quite translate to Bob. It's a little violent. He thought. So.
I thought,
Well, we're from the South, Bob. We're from the South.
The tree with little folk art with the tree with the shotgun shells on it.
I would love to see a picture of that tree if you have one laying around.
I thought about it because Ellen said something about send some pictures, and I tried to look up real quick in my I'm not sure there is one, but I know we have some funky looking trees. Even when we didn't have shotgun shells on them.
Well, I didn't know Bob. I know you guys did, but I heard he was a master marketer, and I think this album cover shows, like he knew he'd get that song into more people's ears
Yeah.
Yeah.
with this, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting what a difference that is, and that gets, I think, to your point about editors in the studio with you or having a
Mhm.
producer and things. I'm not saying one would have been better or worse, but it's we always have to make these choices and
Oh
see
yeah.
how it goes. But I know that and sometimes you have to you have to give the first Christmas gift in order to get the shotgun shells on the Christmas tree.
Right. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
by the way, I found my copy, and this is the back of the album. So this is the front, and the back is that photo that they were talking about
Oh, nice.
of you guys probably
There you are.
sweating in 70
You
plus
are.
degree weather.
With a little with
But
a
it looks,
vest on and scarves.
I love it. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with folks.
That's awesome.
Well, let's try and get through at least one more song before we have to head out today. And the song that you guys picked is Rise Up Shepherds. Is there anything you want to say about this?
Oh, I just we just got this. I love this song, and I like the arrangement we got. And then we were lucky enough to there's a band out of Charlottesville at the time called King Wilkie, who was it was Bill Monroe's horse, and the fiddle player was this great young man, Nick Reeb, and he could play old time and bluegrass. And he was just kind of soulful guy, and we did the record in Charlottesville, and it was Sam Bush playing on the last one, the bluegrassy thing. That was Sam.
Oh,
He happened
nice.
to be coming through, and we called him up and said, "Hey, you want to come play on a record?" But we got Nick to play this, and I think he just really did so much for this cut.
He really did. He came in, but we had to work. And King Wilkie was starting to make a name for itself, and we called him up, and he went around and started talking to some people about, well, Robin and Linda Williams, how much should I charge them? And they were saying, well, they're on Red House Records, man. They got plenty of money, charge them. And he came back, and he had some ridiculous price, and and I remember I was on the phone with him, and I said, "Nick, are you kidding?" I said, "We just had Sam Bush come in here, and he played on a song for $100." And Nick said, "Oh, okay, never mind."
$100 is great.
It came time to pay Nick, and we paid close. I don't know what we paid on, and he said, "You gonna pay me all this?" He said, "All this money?" And we thought, "Well, man, you're worth it. You're not worth the $250 you wanted or whatever it was."
Well, he was worth it, but
Yeah, well, he was worth it. Yeah.
The realities of folk musicians, right?
But he really catches this. It's an old song. It's really an old song. It's been sung every way you can imagine. And Nick had a real good old time feel for the song on the fiddle.
And I guess I played on the banjo. I played on the banjo, yeah. And I played shotgun shells on the banjo too, obviously.
And I did.
Well, let's take a listen to it now.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite cuts on the album, and pushes all my kind of bluegrass and gospel buttons here. This is Rise Up Shepherds and Follow, Robin and Linda Williams on a very
Thank
special.
you so much for having us. Are we going to see you afterwards?
Oh yeah, we'll be
Yes,
back.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We'll be back after this awesome tune. Turn it up.
There's a star in the east on Christmas morn. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. It'll lead to the place where the Savior's born. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Leave your sheep and leave your lambs. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Leave your ewes and leave your rams. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow, follow. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow the star of Bethlehem. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. angel's words. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. You'll forget your flocks, you'll forget your herd. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Leave your sheep and leave your lambs. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Leave your ewes and leave your rams. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow, follow. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow the star of Bethlehem. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow, follow, rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow the star of Bethlehem. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow, follow, rise up, shepherd, and follow. Follow the star of Bethlehem. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Rise up, shepherd, and follow. Rise up, shepherd, and follow.
Yes.
Yeah.
The final track to Robin and Linda Williams' 2005 holiday
man,
release, The First Christmas Gift. So good.
Cool.
Nothing rocks harder than duet style
Yeah,
singing.
banjo,
with
and fiddle and voices.
Man.
That
So
is, oh
good.
man, so
Yeah.
good.
And yeah, really nice take on that old traditional tune. And
Yeah.
Andy, a lot of folks commenting on that. Connie and Lacey saying how much they were enjoying that tune. Andy asked, any idea when your new record will be released?
Well, we're hoping to get it out in early 2021, and we're closing in on it. We're closing in. We're working on cover. We're working on, all the nuts and the publishing, getting it published. But doing all the little nitty gritty stuff that you have to do to get it ready. It's the mix. We're on just tweaking the final mixes, and so we're hoping that's going to happen. And we're
The only thing I would say, I will amend it and say I don't know whether it's going to be early 2021.
It will be in 2021.
2021.
It will be,
Yeah.
and we're hoping the first quarter.
Yeah, it's been a while coming, and
It's taken a while because
we're ready to get this done because we are feeling creative, and this is a good time to get this behind us and start thinking about the next one and moving on.
Yeah, we
And
really,
that's what we need to do. And,
Yeah.
it's been great being home, to finish up some writing and get some new writing going and play every day.
Yeah, the advantage to having your musical partner be
Yeah.
in your quarantine home is really
we're
nice.
grateful. We're grateful
I've
because
gotten my piano tuned up, and I hadn't played any piano in a long time. Now I just sit for piano. The minutes fly when I'm playing piano.
Oh, it's
They're not very-
awesome.
I took lessons when I was a kid, but I'm now trying just to play, by ear and play,
And believe you me, we
So much
understand how grateful we are because I think that Anthony, you know what it's Tony, they're your band members in different parts of the city and probably different parts of the other counties. Who knows?
Yeah,
And we know
it's tough.
band members that live in different countries, and for them to try to get together to practice, unless you're a guitar genius like Dave Hull or something like that. You don't get to play.
One man
by
band.
yourself, And Dave, don't be intimidated by my guitar playing, okay? you don't feel as if you have to go work go back to the workshop and
I love it. Well, we want to we are going to have to run pretty soon here because we have a special after party that we'll be doing for our Patreon supporters in just a minute. But I did want to say, Anne mentioned, Anne listening from Minneapolis said she got her copy of The First Christmas Gift, which again, the album that we've been enjoying today on Back Catalog Listening Party. You can buy it.
Thank you.
At robinandlinda.com. And I'm sure you can stay in touch with them if you want to know about their new record when it's out as well. And we want to thank them for joining us today, all of you out
Thank you
there for
so much.
listening. And this has been our quarantine experiment. This is our 39th episode and our final show for 2020. And if you're new to the show, like our YouTube channel, subscribe to it because we have so many incredible guests planned for 2021. So thank you for being a part of it. And thank you to our Patreon supporters for being a part of it. Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, and John, and all of you again for listening because you're what makes the show special. It's about the community, and we miss seeing you in person, and we're happy to share music with you every week.
This show got me through 2020. I mean, sitting together with you guys, artists like you, Robin and Linda, and all of you folks who come in every week and hang out with us, it means absolutely the world to me. It feels like a connection that I've been missing this whole year, and it's fulfilled because you show up week after week, and we sure appreciate it.
Oh, well,
I wish every hour was as much fun as this hour, so thank you.
Thank you.
Looking at an old record is a great idea because, we really don't sit around and listen to ourselves as a general rule, but I was really happy when I popped this into my, my iPhone and listened to it with, just to see what, revisit it. And I thought, well, this thing stands up pretty well. I'm feeling pretty good about it. So thank you so much for doing this.
We had a great time.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and have a wonderful holiday season. And we can't wait to hear the new music in the new year. So thank you all so much. And for those of you who are Patreon supporters, we'll see you in a minute over at our Zoom link that you got.
Robin,
Dave,
you're welcome to join us.
Yep.
What was in that?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks again. Have a wonderful holiday season, everyone, and a wonderful new year. We'll see you in 2021 on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Cheers.
Cheers. Good idea. Great idea, Ellen.